Hey loves, welcome back to my channel. It's your new best friend, Ceiba. You're watching Beauty Basics for Beginners. This is the episode on how to do your base makeup. Without further ado, let's get started. So welcome to the very first episode of the first series on my channel. Today I'm filming by myself. It's a sad life that I don't have Andrew's camera, so I'm sitting here filming on my iPhone. Well, first off, the first step to a pretty good base is your foundation, but let's call this step 0. Step 0 is primer. Now before you apply your primer, you want to let your moisturizer, your daily moisturizer, sit and absorb into your skin for about 5 minutes, just so that you don't want to feel your moisturizer sitting on the surface of your skin, and then it's just gonna mix with all your products, and that's not gonna go very well. So I have a few primer options for you today. The first is actually not a primer at all. This is the e.l.f. Hydrating Water Essence. This works very well as a primer. Now you apply this water essence just a little bit with your fingers, rub it into your skin, and it leaves sort of a sticky film, and that's gonna make your foundation apply and stick very well. The next option I have just a few samples from high-end primers. The first is the Smashbox Photo Finish Foundation Primer in Radiance, and this is a glow primer. So let me go ahead and swatch that for you guys first. So this is what the primer looks like, and you rub that in, and it leaves sort of like a glowy finish, and that's gonna make your foundation look like you're glowing from within. The next one I'm gonna show you guys is this Lancome La Base Perfecting Makeup Primer with Smoothing Effect. This is pretty similar to the NYX Photo Finish Primer, the clear one. Girl! And bye! Says smoothing effect. It pretty much does that. It feels very silicone-y, which just makes your foundation apply smoother. The next one is also one of my favorites. This is the NYX Angel Veil. It has a similar effect to this one. This one says Skin Perfecting, and it does make your skin look quite smooth. It gives you a sort of poreless effect. I think today I want to go with something different, not the Angel Veil. I don't want to look glowy because I want my foundation to last, and glowy foundation doesn't tend to last long. I'm between smoothing and sticky. I think I'm going to go with the smoothing one. So I'm going to take this little sample of this Lancome primer that I have, about that much. And I'm going to start in my T-zone. Also get that under your eyes. You know, your under eyes should never be neglected from primer. You don't want your other products to be seeping into your under eyes too much. Chill, relax for a few minutes. You want to let your primer also soak into your skin. You don't want it to be too wet when you apply your foundation over it. In the meantime, while that's happening, I'm actually showing you guys two of my favorite foundations today. The first one is going to be a high-end foundation. This is the Lancome Teint Idole Ultra Wear, which you've seen me use a couple times on my channel as well. The second is the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless. Now, these are two almost completely different shades. You can even tell on the bottle that this one's a bit more golden than this one. And that's for two different reasons. Everyone's body has different colorations for different body parts, and that's completely normal. The way you match your foundation is a preference. Some people prefer for their foundation to match their shoulders. The other way to match your foundation is to match it to your neck and chest. So I'm gonna go ahead and just show you guys the way this matches. I don't know how well it's gonna translate on camera. So my Lancome Teint Idole Matches pretty seamlessly with my neck, and you can tell. And you always want to shake your foundations before you apply. The next one is my Maybelline Fit Me in the shade 228. Hold on, girl. I got way too much. See? Matches my shoulders pretty well. And that's just because my shoulders are a bit tanner than my chest. I wear the different foundations depending on what I'm wearing. Sometimes I'll choose to mix the foundations, and that's actually what I plan on doing today. I'm just taking out the foundation that I had right there in the cap. I'm gonna go ahead, and you wanna close your products right away because you don't want them to dry out. Now I wanna call this about a pump and a half of makeup because the Maybelline doesn't have a pump. It's just like you pour it out. So that means I'm gonna add about a pump and a half, yeah, of my long comb. And I'm just gonna take the same little brush that I use, and I'm gonna mix those two together. I'm using a damp beauty sponge. This one is by Morphe. You can still build your foundation to be full coverage with this sponge. The only difference is that a beauty sponge, I find, actually makes the foundation feel much lighter. Yeah, now you can tell the matches to my shoulders today. So this is actually one of my favorite combos right now. I've been mixing the two a lot because I'm like, I went to Venice Beach recently and I kind of got a little more color than I expected. The next step, I'm gonna actually show you guys two different approaches to under eye concealer. I'm gonna take some of my NARS soft matte in the color Macadamia, and this one is slightly lighter than my skin tone, but not so light that I can use it to highlight. I use it mostly for the pinker undertones to color correct this little dark ring I have right here. And I'm gonna go ahead and do the same to the other side. By the way, I do have freckles, see some right there. I actually don't mind my freckles to peek through too much. It honestly depends on whether I'm going somewhere or not. I'm now taking my NARS Creamy Radiant in the shade Custard. In here, I apply pretty far in. Actually, that's farther in than I'm used to. Down here, I curve it like this. That's because I don't like it to touch too far in here, since I tend to get creasing there. So you want to apply your concealer in a lighter shade than your skin tone because it's gonna accentuate your cheekbones and the natural shape of your face. You want it to sit right on top of your cheekbones, and you're gonna blend it right on top of your cheekbones and not too far down. Now I'm gonna go down the nose with the same shade, and this is basically highlighting all the high points of my face. I'm gonna go ahead and take this flatter side of my beauty sponge, then I'm going up the nose. I never go down, I always go up the nose and up onto the forehead. I feel like if you go down, you're gonna drag down your nose too much, and you actually want to lift it a little bit. And I already covered how I let my concealer on my under eyes dry. That is for a reason. That's because as it dries, it gets thicker, and you'll be able to get more coverage out of your concealer, especially a concealer like Creamy Radiant, where the formula is phenomenal, but it doesn't have quite enough coverage for my liking. So I let it sit for a little while. The first approach I showed you was applying a small amount of concealer with your finger. This is the second approach. I personally do both because I like the coverage under my eyes. I want to show you guys a hack to making sure both your under eyes look equally as flawless. So what I do is, I'm gonna look into my mirror over here. I start to blend out one eye first, just go ahead and pounce my beauty blender. Before I finish blending this eye, I go ahead and go on to this eye. And I'll just go back and forth with the blending. And then as I get closer to the inner corner, I actually bring whatever's on my blender onto the sides of my nose, because that's gonna give me a fake contour there. And anything else, I'll bring it onto my lid. Now we have our concealer blended. You can already tell it's the way the light hits the face, the parts that I actually applied my highlighting shade to. Next, I have to set my under eyes right away. I just go ahead and pour a little bit of my Airspun in to the cap. I flip it over. Actually, my eyes are already creasing, so I need to blend a little bit first, dip in, and go ahead and just set that powder right on. Baking, which is what I'm doing now, definitely does not work for everyone. Makeup technique is not a one-size-fits-all. Yes? Yes? Anyways, while my under eyes are baking, I just want to let you guys know that your skin type and your face shape have a lot to do with how you should be applying and setting your makeup. So, if you happen to have drier skin, you don't want to bake your face. You should be setting with, I want to say, a fluffier brush. I don't like my natural oils to peek through, so I'll pack on the powder in the center of my face, and I'll bake like here. I've gotten into baking the sides there because that's where I get really oily. It's the perimeter of my face where I tend to be more on the normal side. I find that if I bake there, if I bake my entire face, which some people do, my skin will dry out too much and makeup just tends to be more uncomfortable throughout the day. So I'll just take a pressed powder, or you can take a loose powder, it doesn't really matter. And I'll go ahead and just lightly sweep that all over my face where I need to, with this same brush here. And I'm gonna not put any more powder on it because that's gonna make your dark circles look darker actually. I'm gonna go ahead and set that on my under eye and make fast sweeping motions, sweep all the excess powder off. I'm gonna go on and apply some brows, and I'll be back for the rest of the face. Okay, so I'm back with brows. Eyes and lips done. I just put on a little bit of mascara and a little bit of shadow. I don't plan on going anywhere important today. Because I set with so much powder, and I'm gonna show you guys the steps to highlighting. I'm taking my rose water. So I don't do a lot. I do like 2 spritz, so 1 on each side, and then fan a little bit. This is gonna give your highlighter and your blush something to stick to. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this Mírame highlighter from the Dusty and Katie Dose of Colors collection, and I'm taking my highlighting brush. Now, the amount of shimmer highlight that you wear is completely a preference. It's completely up to you. I personally like to pack it on there. Apply a little bit above your eyebrow, a little bit on your chin. All the places where the light hits. See, you can kind of see how that looks way better on this side. Bring it around here and up on your forehead. And this is actually a very exaggerated amount. I don't expect for people to wear this much highlight on a daily basis, but I do apply my highlight first. When you apply your highlight after your bronzer and your blush, this harsh line of highlight here stays. These 2 brushes have different finishes for the way they apply bronzer. Well, why don't I just do both sides? So let's see. Let's take this big guy first. So swirl him around in your bronzer. When you see your cheekbones, you want to carve that out with your bronzer. So you put your bronzer there, bring it around the highlight, hug everywhere that you added highlighter. And then on your forehead, I tend to have a bigger forehead, so I'll bring it right on the top and kind of make myself the illusion of having a smaller forehead. And then under your jawline and down here, your double chin. On this side, the bronzer, the brush applied it very softly. We're gonna use this brush for the other side. This brush, since it's small, denser, and more tapered, is gonna cut your cheeks more than the other side. You can already tell.
Hi guys, I'm Richie.
Denser, smaller brushes, the smaller and denser the brush, the harsher the line you'll get. It's all a preference. Like I said, I prefer to use a fluffier brush for daytime makeup and a denser brush for nighttime makeup. Now you're gonna take a blush. This one's by Pixie. It's in the shade Beach Rose. Throughout the history of makeup, applying blush has been very different. I know every generation has applied blush in different ways. A lot of Latina women and a lot of women of other cultures apply blush where I just applied my bronzer. To give yourself a more fresh face look and make your cheekbones pop even more, I always smile. And right where my cheekbones stand out here, that's where I apply my blush. And then I use a very soft hand and I blend it into my highlighter and my bronzer. But not all the way back, just about to where my eyebrow ends. I also take the blush and I just hit the bottom of the tip of my nose with it. Basically, your highlight, your blush, and your bronzer are meant to add color back into your face. I personally am not a fan of having one-dimensional makeup. Next, this is what I do. I'm gonna take this little pencil brush and the Balm Mary Luminizer and highlight. This is for a more dramatic effect. I wouldn't do this every day, but go ahead and highlight my Cupid's bow here. That looks amazing in photos, just so you guys know. It makes you look super kissable. I'm gonna go ahead and add some in the center of my lip too. And I'm gonna also take the same brush and my Mary Luminizer and add just a dot of highlight. I don't know where to look. Just a dot of highlight right on the tip of my nose and down the bridge, starting here, down the bridge, just about halfway. Okay, I'm going back to my Mírame with the same pencil brush here, and I'm just gonna, let me just see, just gonna highlight the inner corners up here. There. And that's about it for your base. The last step is to just set, and I'm gonna go ahead and take my same rose water because it was right in front of me and set, and then you want to fan it, and that just helps the setting spray do its magic. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Our base makeup is finally done. I hope you learned something. If you did learn something and you want to know how to do anything else, let me know in the comments down below. What other beauty basics for beginners videos you would like to see, any kind of beauty tips that you want to learn. I would be so happy to share that with you. But before you leave, please subscribe to my channel. The subscribe button is down there. Also hit that like button down below. I don't know where the like button is exactly, but I know you know. I'll just wait for you to like this video. Don't worry, I have all the time in the world. I'm on a screen. Alright, best friend, well that's it for today. I'll see you in my next video. But until then, I'll miss you so much.